This week on the Ferguson Home, I'm joined by a special guest that many of you out there know as Granny Bobbie, and she is also known as my mom, Bobbie Davis. Welcome to the Ferguson Home. I'm so excited today to have my mom with me. Instead of Keith, I miss having him, but excited on this week that we're celebrating mothers to get to interview my mom and to talk about specifically the amazing mom she was as a single mom. So for all of you single mothers out there, this one is for you today, and we want to honor you and just we want you to know that we know you're doing an incredible work and that it's a hard work, but it's a worthy work. And so Bobbie Davis, Granny Bobbie.
Yes.
Tell me, if you were going to describe motherhood, how would you describe it?
I would describe it, as I've said for many years, God's greatest blessing on this earth other than salvation. It's just, I feel like children are a trust from God. And I loved being a mom to this girl here. I've always called her Pollyanna, but don't get me wrong, she was a teenager. So that says everything right there, that we weren't always at the Pollyanna stage. But
well, go ahead.
But I will say that she's an incredible mom herself now. I've learned from her about what it really means to be a mom. And she's an incredible mom, and I wouldn't trade being her mom for anything else in the world.
And I did not pay her to say any of that. I'm just saying. No, as you talk about my teenage years and the years that were very formative for me are the years that you were a single mom. And one of the things that I remember and that made such a mark on me was that we were poor. My mom was an administrative assistant, and she worked hard. Sometimes she would work extra jobs. I remember one time you were cleaning houses, selling jewelry, Amway. I think Amway was in there. She would do, whatever she needed to do on the side to provide for us. But we definitely relied on just others around us to love on us and take care of us, and God provided richly through that. But what I remember is that even in those hard circumstances, you were always able to laugh. Like, my mom was known by her laughter. I remember one time we went to the movie theater, and at the end of it, I think it was Harry and the Hendersons maybe. I don't know, but at the end of it, her best friend and her best friend's son was waiting for us outside the movie theater, and they said, "We knew you were in here because we heard Bobbie Jean's laughter." And so you were just known for your laughter and joy. And tell us, what gave you the ability to laugh like that and to have true joy in the midst of some really hard years?
Well, I accepted Jesus as my Savior when I was 20 years old. And the one thing that I have shared with people through the years about belonging to Jesus is that you're never without hope. No matter how bleak your life looks or the circumstances, whatever's going on, you're never without hope. And that's my main takeaway from my relationship with the Lord is that enables you to have joy, to be able to laugh. And I do love practical jokes anyhow, and jokes and all kinds of things like that. I love to laugh. So it's not hard for me to laugh, but really the foundation for the laughter is that I have security in the Lord.
Well, and I want to tell a quick story on you. So many of you single moms out there, you are struggling to make ends meet, and I know that you go to bed at night and you lay there when the lights are out and you struggle with feeling like there's 100 things I didn't do right today. And I've heard Mom through the years, kind of talk about what she didn't do right. But one of the things, and the most important thing that I have taken with me into parenthood, is that I would wake up in the mornings and I knew she would be in her green chair praying with her Bible open, praying over me. And more than any monetary items that she could have ever given me, those prayers carried me and helped me through and pointed me to Jesus, who's the one who can satisfy me. And so I just want to honor you on this and tell you how much that meant to me, and that we need to stop with the going to bed at night and feeling guilty that we didn't do enough, and realize that it's God working. And I think my mom recognized that there was a lot that she couldn't provide for me physically that the world says is important, but what she could provide for me that doesn't cost money is prayer, and you gave me that. So I just appreciate that so much. The other thing that I know we don't have much time today, but I have seen you through the years. You're always investing and pouring into single moms. Like, you see women, and I think your heart of compassion, especially when you know that none of those ladies expected to be in that spot, but they, for whatever circumstances, have found themselves to be single and raising their kids and just fighting to survive and thrive. And you have invested in them. And even now, right now during this season, you are leading a divorce care at our church with a group of women who have found themselves in a similar place that you did. And what is the most important piece of advice or wisdom that you hope to pour out to all these ladies that you have invested in through the years?
Well, in mentoring through the years, the one thing that I have that's really very important to my heart is that after a divorce situation, the parent who who has the children with them the most, they have to invest in their children. You have to invest in your children and put your children before your own personal needs. I've always told the ladies it's not fair that you're put in that position, but it happens. And I always tell them, your kids didn't ask to be born, but they're your children, and their whole foundation has been rocked. I mean, their security, everything has just been rocked. And so you have to work to rebuild that trust factor in them, to encourage them to participate in their life, to have a listening ear. And in order to do that, you have to make a decision. Okay, I'm putting my life, my personal needs on hold to get my kids through this, and to build that trust factor back up in them, to give them that foundation that has just been torn apart. So that, if there was one thing that I counsel ladies when I do mentoring single moms, is you need to put your kids first. God first, your kids after that, because they need that. They've got to know that they weren't at fault for a divorce situation, that they still have a foundation of family there. And it's vitally important, because I know a lot of times we need to be reaffirmed as women. We need to be reaffirmed because we just had somebody, that's just turned their back on us and abandoned us. And so a lot of times we go try to find somewhere to get that affirmation. But in the meantime, your kids are there trying to, to take in all this. And so I would say to make a decision to pour into your kids and get them to a point where you feel like that they are surviving the divorce situation.
And not only did you invest in me, but the cool thing is that I'm pretty sure that if all my high school friends were to watch this, they would comment and say that you were like a mom to them also, that because my mom had extra time and didn't have split demands, that when my friends came over, they knew they would be cared for by you too, and just saw you as a mom figure. And you've used your extra time through these years to love the Lord and spend as much time with Him as you can, and to pray for people. If you know my mom, she's praying for you and a prayer warrior, and just to love others well. And if you have ever come in contact with my mom, then you know what a great friend she is, an encourager, and that she'll bring a smile to your face, whether that's telling you a joke or pulling a practical joke on you. Do you have any jokes? I should have prepped you for this. Any jokes off the top of your head?
I can't think of any at this time.
Oh, come on, Bobbie Jean.
But one thing I want to say is that I always wanted Barie to see families that were still intact, and he answered that. He so put families, and one of them was Keith's family. they were a big part of intact family, that Barie saw the love there, and I appreciate so much that he did that he answered that prayer. And friends, the friends from high school, they were just so, it was such a good group of kids, and so that just meant everything for her to have that support, to see those families of her friends that were still intact, their marriages intact, and I appreciate that so much.
And they love me like a daughter.
Yes.
Yeah, Papa, who's now my father-in-law, but when I was in high school, I mean, he's the one who took me to Baylor, right, and helped fill out the FAFSA form, so that I could get into school, and just really helped a lot of those logistics. And yeah, so forever grateful. I just want y'all to know, if you're a single mom out there, that God is with you, that you're doing a great work, and to keep going. And I know that when I was a kid and a teenager, and probably even in college, those are kind of self-absorbed times. So I don't know if I maybe let my mom know during all that time that I saw her, and I saw the sacrifices she was making so that I could enjoy my childhood. But now as an adult, I tell her that all the time. Like, I see that, what she did, and I'm just so grateful. So moms, know that your kids see, and that the sacrifices that you make, they're watching, and you're molding them into the adults that God wants them to grow up to be. We love y'all, and thanks for joining us today at the Ferguson Home.